We are in Washington, D.C. We are walking near the White House, heading toward the home of the President of the United States. Join us as we go through the private entrance to the White House. Inside, in the Rose Garden, these young high school boys meet President Truman. Yes, President Harry Truman invited these boys to visit him. Why? How did these fellows earn a trip to Washington? Let's take one boy and tell his story from the beginning. Meet David Bell. He goes to high school in Connecticut. He likes to play baseball. This was his idea of a big thrill until he went to Washington. Sure, Dave studied. He did his homework now and then between baseball games. To learn current events, Dave read newspapers. But as he read, he never dreamed that soon he would meet the president. Dave Bell began his exciting trip by going to an amazing place called Boys State. With other young men from hundreds of different high schools, these boys will learn about free government. They will set up a complete state, all their own. They will form a 49th state, and Dave Bell is here to help. Soon, the students are called to the auditorium, and the state commander of the American Legion welcomes them. The fellows hear how the Legion sponsors Boys State to teach them about democracy, to teach good government. Then, the students are shown how they will be divided into two political parties. 90 boys will be called Federalists. 90 other boys will belong to the Nationalist Party. And 46 boys will be independent voters. Both parties will compete and try to gain those independent votes. After the lecture, the boys go out to set up towns of their own. Each dormitory will be a different town hall. Boundary lines and highway signs also appear to make a new 49th state. Meanwhile, inside one of those dormitories, these boys have set up a campaign headquarters. They are planning how to elect one of their friends as mayor. The campaign manager tells his men, "Hand out these pages of publicity. Advertise our candidate. Tell every voter to elect our boy for mayor." The fellows go out to round up votes, to hold meetings on all parts of the campus. We are watching boys in Connecticut, but throughout America, in California, in Pennsylvania, in all 48 states, the Legion sponsors a boys' state just like this one. To cover each election, the students will publish their own daily newspaper. The city editor is not impressed, but Red thinks he has a terrific scoop. Of course, some typists are faster than others. Red, the demon reporter, well, he hunts and pecks. Even so, the presses do manage to roll on time, despite Red's typing. The editor-in-chief is Bob Bialek. He writes editorials late into the night. Next morning, the day begins with a flag-raising ceremony. The Legion emphasizes patriotism, love of country. One of the lessons at Boys State is respect for the American flag. Then, in front of another flag, a speaker says, "Free elections are the best form of government. In a democracy, the people choose their leaders." Next is a special agent of the FBI. This G-man speaks against juvenile delinquency. Then, 2 more FBI agents conduct a demonstration of judo. The Federal Bureau of Investigation sends agents to every boys' state. They urge the young men to help fight against crime. Soon, the boys go outside. It's time to cast votes. In privacy, each boy makes his free choice of candidates. A boy stater marks a secret ballot. In America, every citizen has this right under a free government. These ballots will elect a mayor of a town at Boys State, and soon a gavel raps to start a town meeting. Here is a mayor who was elected by those ballots. The citizens of his town propose laws. They pass ordinances. To gain experience in town government, these boys learn by actual practice. This is a town meeting in Connecticut. Meanwhile, there are boy states like this in Texas, in Oregon, across America. Everywhere, to settle issues, the people vote. Outside, signs begin to appear. Signs as the campaign for governor begins. Soapbox speeches, pep talks, on into the evening. At dawn, a boom-bang racket awakes this boy next morning. More fellows in pajamas soon add to the noise. What's going on out there? Late last night, the entire Federalist Party decided to back one certain boy for governor. These boys want Donald Rizzo for governor. Into action go the Nationalists. They start to paint a flood of signs. Red Flaherty will be the other candidate for governor. Flaherty will lead the Nationalist Party. Outside, a snake dance starts for Rizzo, cheering for Don Rizzo. But now, off to the lecture hall again for a memorial service. The boys pay tribute to America's war veterans. These students know that millions of Americans have fought and died to preserve liberty. This soldier was a hero on baton, and he pays honor to the war dead who defended free government. After the memorial service, the boys hold a caucus meeting. These are campaign managers for the Federalists. They are drawing up the party platform. Our party platform should tell the voters that we will give them freedom of speech, freedom of religion. We Federalists must convince the independent party to vote for us. Those independent voters hold the balance of power. To seek more facts, the chairman sends for help. Here, the boys are learning, by experience, what a political caucus can legally do. A counselor is called in to give advice. The boys hold their meetings behind closed doors with no adults present. An instructor comes in only when he's invited, and now he's been asked to answer some questions about government. Then the boys will be on their own again, but the counselor will be right outside if they need him. Meanwhile, editor Bob Bialek is running a free press, typing news about the race for governor. Red, he's probably still on the old story about the old race for mayor. Soon the boys try another campaign stunt. They stage a rally for Flaherty. The sign on the cow tells what they think about Rizzo's campaign promises. Flaherty's campaign managers borrowed this cow, and the farmer didn't know whether he ought to loan it to them. Whoops! Even the cameraman got excited. This was not in the script. Well, that stunt didn't turn out quite the way it was supposed to. But now, more lessons. A Superior Court judge lectures. These students were elected as county judges at Boys State, and soon the boys have a court all their own. They learn actual courtroom procedure. A defense attorney swears in a witness, but the verdict is guilty. Guards, take him away. The boys sentence one of their counselors to a cruel fate. He's led off to prison. This Boys State building will serve as a death house. Into the execution chamber goes the prisoner. This is it, the signal for a cold, wet doom. Do you want a job as a counselor at Boys State? Laughs and stunts, yes. But Boys State offers much more. Here, an Italian lad, a blonde of Swedish descent, a Negro, and Dave Bell of English ancestry, all working together. Young men of all nationalities come to Boys State. All the boys learn to respect the other fellow's color, race, or creed. The results of this conference are seen that night when Dave Bell lights some flares. No political campaign would be complete without a torchlight parade. The Federalist party colors in flaming green, but Flaherty fights back with N for Nationalist in shining sparklers. The campaign gets hot, it roars on, and ends another day. Next morning, every boy reads his own newspaper. This is the day they've been waiting for. They agree to swap votes, they make promises, and there's an emergency meeting soon by the Nationalists. Flaherty's men are plenty worried. They need a good stunt to stop the Federalists. This fellow thinks he's found the answer. Maybe we can stop Rizzo and put Flaherty ahead. Back home, a surprised father gets a call. Could he please send a certain object to Boys State? Fellas, my dad thinks he can make the special arrangements. Now here's the secret plan. Outdoors that afternoon, there's a baseball game. Between study classes, all types of sports are played at Boys State. Athletics to build strong bodies as well as mental power. Suddenly, the boys hear loud noises. It's a helicopter, and it seems to be heading right for Boys State, zooming over the trees, over the heads of the Boys Staters. Yes, it's going to land, right on the lawn. Another campaign stunt. Remember that phone call when the boy telephoned to his father? Well, his dad was an official in an aircraft factory, and Pop arranged to have this helicopter sent to Boys State. Red Flaherty appears in the plane. He speaks, and the crowd likes his plans. I urge all independent voters to join my party. Vote a straight nationalist ticket. I promise freedom of the press, freedom from fear. Then it's time to go. Rotor blades turn. Suddenly, Flaherty has an afterthought. He looks for someone. In a display of good sportsmanship, Flaherty invites Don Rizzo to go for a ride. Rizzo, the other candidate for governor, climbs aboard. Flaherty takes his opponent midair. Now it's time to vote. A Legionnaire explains how to use a voting machine. Yes, the boys will use this machine to learn by experience. First, they must register. Earlier, we saw the boys mark paper ballots. But in some large cities, machines are used to total the votes more quickly. It's time for the first boy to make his choice. Here, a hidden camera shows the actual voting. This determined fellow votes a straight ticket. More boys register. Will they choose Flaherty as governor for his intelligent speeches? Or will it be Rizzo for his fine party platform? This next youngster seems a bit confused, but he's an American youth gaining valuable experience. Gosh, I hope I did it right. Near the voting machine, a radio broadcast, interviews with voters and candidates. Dave Bell is next. He's learned to split his ticket. 5 years from now, when these students really go to vote, they'll know how. Here's the last boy. He makes his choice, and behind closed doors, the vote counting begins. A counselor checks the totals taken from the voting machine. He hands the results to a boy reporter from the Nutmeg News. Yes, the Boys State newspaper will announce who won. This boy reporter carries the answer everyone is waiting for. Into the newspaper office with the secret totals. Block the door. No one comes in until the extra is printed. Outdoors, tension is mounting. Flaherty knows it's a close contest. Rizzo also wonders and worries. His chances are just as good as Flaherty's. And here it comes, the extra of the Nutmeg News, but it's face down as it rolls off the presses. And the result is still a secret until the papers are tossed off the roof. It's Flaherty. A cheer goes up from the crowd. Happy nationalists lift Red Flaherty onto their shoulders. Meanwhile, men from the Associated Press use the Boys State newspaper office to send out headline stories. Boy elected governor. Oh yes, Red, he's still at it, still writing about the mayor. But adult writers do stories about Governor Flaherty, and their manuscripts will go to a national magazine in New York. Inside their skyscraper building, magazine editors will study the Boys State article. The publisher of Parents magazine arranges a layout. Flaherty will be on every newsstand across the United States. Millions will read about Red Flaherty, good citizen. No wonder there's such a celebration back here at Boys State. National fame will go to Flaherty. It's an important honor to be elected boy governor. And each year, there's a Boys State held in Pennsylvania, in Oregon, in every state. Some boy wins this same honor every year. And so ends Election Day at Boys State. Next morning, Don Rizzo shows that he has learned how to be a good loser. Now, Inauguration Day. The real governor of Connecticut comes to Boys State in person. This is the greatest moment of Red Flaherty's life. The real governor administers the oath of office. Frightened and nervous, Raymond John Flaherty becomes boy governor. Across America, adult governors personally visit every boy's state to congratulate local winners. This acceptance speech is the climax. Boys State is over, and the week is ended. When Dave Bell goes back home, the first thing he does is take his girlfriend on a date. They go on a picnic. Dave tells her about his work at Boys State, but there's even bigger news. He, Dave Bell, is going to Washington, D.C. The Legion chose him and Bob Bialek, the editor of the Boys State newspaper, to make an amazing trip. Senator Bell, tomorrow, goes to Washington, along with these fellows from Ohio. And out of Union Station in Washington are two lads from California. Students from Florida and Texas say hello to Dave Bell and Bob Bialek. Dave reads, "Welcome to Boys Forum. Here, the American Legion will teach about federal laws. This is Boys Forum of national government." Sightseeing is first at Lincoln Memorial. Then, from their cab window, the boys see the Capitol, go inside the House of Representatives, where they meet their congressmen from Connecticut. The men personally teach the boys how the business of federal government is conducted. Next stop is the Senate. These are exclusive movies, behind the scenes at the United States Senate. Dave Bell meets Hayes Kennedy. This man started the first Boys State, which was held in Illinois in 1935. Inspecting the statue of Cordell Hull, a former Secretary of State. Boys from Georgia meet their senator, Senator Russell. New Jersey lads greet the senator from their home state. Dave Bell meets a senator from Connecticut to ask him questions about federal laws. And Bob Bialek, also from Connecticut, talks with Senator McMahon, who is chairman of the Atomic Energy Commission. Suddenly, a page boy appears in the doorway calling them. The two leaders go into the Senate chamber for an important debate. Next day, a national commander of the American Legion speaks to the boys. Commander James F. O'Neill presents a diploma to each student, fellows from California, followed by Connecticut. Meanwhile, all week, all the boys have been wanting most of all to meet one man. General George C. Marshall, their idol and a hero to millions of young Americans. Today, all the fellows attending Boys Forum will actually hear a special lecture by General Marshall. But the Connecticut boys have a personal chat with the famous statesman and diplomat. He told them high school students should start now studying and supporting the United Nations. The youth of the world must work to understand each other. That's the only road to lasting peace. A thrill of a lifetime as they meet General Marshall. That afternoon, there was another meeting. Applause. Here comes the boy President of the United States. He is William Greery, age 16, from New Orleans, Louisiana. In an election just like the one for boy governor, he has become president. Soon the boy president is honored at the White House. President Truman invites all the boys to meet him. He says, "In your high schools, tell the advantages of American government. Tell what you have learned about democracy. Freedom is everybody's job." Here, the American Legion Youth Program reaches its climax. These boys will go home inspired. President Truman pauses long enough for the fellows to take candid snapshots as souvenirs. Outside the White House again, there's a final cheer and celebration. Who knows? Someday, one of these boys may return to the White House to live. Boys' State and Boys' Forum are ended. Dave Bell packs, and he will take home some important memories, memories of lessons he has learned, like how to vote, how to run a political caucus, how to live with others. Each boy will take home knowledge, experience, and the vital training which will make him a better citizen of tomorrow.